Good afternoon. We are in a series called Making Your Life Work, and we've been covering several topics from the Proverbs. And today, the theme is the discipline. I want to start off today with a little different than the other Sundays. I'm going to give you a word and then kind of association puzzle. So I'm going to give you a word, and you will describe, what kind of tool this profession will use for his or her job. So tell me the most important tool that someone in the profession would use to do their job. So that's with number one, carpenter. Hammer. Okay, there's no point to this, so it's okay. A dentist. Water sucking thing. Mask, drill. Ooh, we don't like that. What about a drummer? Drumsticks. How about a bricklayer? Cement. What is that tool that they trowel, right? That's what I call it. How about astronomer? Telescope. How about chemist? Test tube? I could tell you're not a scientist. Goggles, gloves, chemist? Good. What about a writer? Pen. You still use a pen to write? Word processor, right? How about NFL referees? Whistle. Now you're wondering what this has to do with our subject matter. Absolutely nothing. I'm a little short on the material, and I thought I could spend some time playing with these words. No, just kidding. No kidding. Actually, all these indispensable tools that make life work for these respective people when they are on the job. And these are tools that sort of either you do or die kind of deals. You take the hammer away from the carpenter, he can't do his job, right? You take away, let's say, a drumstick from drummer, definitely, you will not hear a drum beat. So today, the book of Proverbs argues the case that this thing called discipline, now in the NIV, it's an instruction, is perhaps the most indispensable tool available to all of us for us to make our lives work on or off the job site. It's do or die deal. Go back to today's passage. I'm going to read different version. It says, cling to discipline. Don't relax your grip on it. Keep it because it is your life. I think it translated much better than our NIV. Cling to discipline. Don't relax your grip on it. Keep it because it is your life. Sounds pretty central, doesn't it? Discipline is a substance of what it's going to take or make your life work. I give you another Proverbs, chapter 13:18 says, poverty and shame come to a person who ignore discipline. So we are learning from the Bible, from this remarkable book in the Old Testament, the wisdom book of the Proverbs. We are learning about the importance of some of the major theme of the book. So one of my aim, the goal in this message today is when we talk about discipline, it's for you to come to see discipline as most effective, offensive weapon in your development. It's a kind of an arsenal, right? But I know this is going to be challenging for some of us because the word discipline sometimes bring negative, emotions. There's always negative and positive. When you see let's just read an article, there's a negative impact or positive impact. I think the word discipline also has a two sides to it. There's a negative connotation, there's a positive connotation. And you think of kids getting punishment, or soldiers getting yelled at, or college students getting expelled, you say the word discipline, and people think of rules, effortlessness, and then rigid routine. But I think we have to remember that there are some positive image of a discipline as well. What would that be? We could talk about disciplining a child, disciplining myself with a certain behaviors. All the disciplines are necessary. Some time ago, I was in a small plane, but it was bad weather condition. And I watched how the pilot was flying this thing. I remember it was about to land because so windy, it went back up. That was scary. And then what happened? He tried to land again and couldn't. So he took off again. And then that's when we realized we're in a serious, I don't know, maybe we'll die, right? And then he did that a couple of times. He was on the, sky kind of roaming, and then decided to land it somewhere in, I don't know, a small airport, because they needed to put the fuel back in the small plane. We landed in the plane, and then electricity went out, blackout in the airport. No light at all. That's how bad the weather was. But finally, it was safe for us to get back on the plane, and then finally landed in JFK. And I have a brother who used to work in Korean airline, and I told him about my experience. He told me, you are so lucky. That the pilot must have done a great job. Because the pilot's skill and experience count the most when it comes to bad weather. It's not a luck, he says. They train in extreme weather condition. This is where their skill counts the most. It's all about the pilot discipline. The pilot had endured hundreds and hundreds of hours of training, flown in a simulator, sat through the score check ride, and FAA people will check every skill. And then if there's anything that little small of, fraud, any performance under extreme circumstance, if he doesn't discipline, then it's everything will crash. So that's when I realized it was a discipline. I'm sure the pilot probably, after all this haunted experience, he probably appreciate all the discipline, all the things that he had go through just to fly this plane. So when you establish a set of goals and priorities and then move toward them relentlessly, right, consistently, because you have discipline working in your favor toward the achievement of something significant. And that's when you realize that discipline really is an ally. That's when you realize it was positive, not the negative. It's an indispensable tool that works for you in helping you make your life work. If you want your life to be working well, discipline is very, very important. If you want to succeed in some area in your life or in your profession, discipline is something that we need to work on, at least realize the importance of it and try to apply it. So I want to dissect this thing called discipline. I want to break it down and take some mystery out of it so that we can understand it and apply it as a tool in our lives. So there are four components that I want to talk about. And the number one, first one is setting your sight high enough to even meet it. So I will explain what that means. In the beginning, carpenter needs a hammer because he's building something. Chemist, has a microscope because he or she is researching something. An NFL referee has a whistle because he is officiating something. So here's a question. What do you need discipline for? When you let's say, is your life goal higher enough to make a development of discipline absolutely necessity? If all you have on your plate right now was so low challenge job and few easygoing relationship, I don't think it's probably even worth working on the discipline. But if you have some sort of goal, not low goal, but something challenging, right? If it goes higher than that, if it is within your heart today, want to fulfill your highest vocational potential, if it's in your heart, want to fulfill the highest potential you have in your relationship, if it's in your heart to develop your full spiritual potential so that God can use you to the ultimate degree, then developing discipline becomes absolute necessity. If you're not going to get from here to there without it, it's going to be not only challenging, but I don't think you don't even have to bother it. If you're spiritually, you come to church and let's say you're worshiping, if you want to really know who God is and you want to live up to the calling that God has called you to live the life, then discipline is something that we all have to be aware of. Without discipline, we can't grow. We can't be mature. Anything you do outside, it doesn't have to be spiritual, it doesn't have to be a religious thing. That you want to achieve something in your life, you have to discipline. We discipline our kids. We discipline our students. We discipline things that I'm not so happy with, right? How serious are you about finding the full potential God put it in your life? Do you know who had shot high and done something extraordinary with their life, something significant in their life? They're all acquainted with this tool called discipline. Everyone who succeeds in somewhere in their life, you ask them, what was the key? It's not just being smart. It was not just beating good people. You have to fight within about how you're going to discipline yourself so that you get there. How high your goal will be. In order to achieve it, you have to do that. So people who wants to achieve higher goal, in their toolbox, there is this tool called discipline. Are you with me? Right? They use it. They accomplished musician, every accomplished musician, actors, decent writers, every athlete, a leader that ever known who's done something significant in their life, they have developed and learned the secret power of discipline for a simple reason, that they had to. They couldn't get where they are without them. So I want to ask, is your current goal high enough to demand the development of discipline? Proverbs 13:12 says, desire fulfilled is a tree of life. Sometimes when you feel God putting, within your heart a desire or become more than you are, or do more than you are doing for His sake, a strong desire to grow in life is a good thing. It comes from God Himself most of the time. And then when you feel yourself using the tool of discipline, making progress, finally achieving some of these God-honoring goals in your life, the Proverbs says desire fulfilled is a tree of life, is a sweet and beautiful thing. So, the first component I want to just mention it. If you could setting your sight so high, so that eventually you would meet it. I want you to have some sort of a expectation. How many of you want to be somebody in life? I know you are already somebody, right? But what do you want to achieve in life? What do you want to do in your life? What do you want to be, Chris? What do you want to be, Daniel? Audrey, you just got a job. What do you want to do? Is that it? I think everybody should have some sort of higher higher expectation that you want to get there. In order to get there, it doesn't just happen. You have to use this tool called discipline. Now, second component is delayed gratification. Have you heard of it? You delay your gratification, which is nothing more than arranging the pain and the pleasure of life in a way as to enhance the seasonal pleasure by putting the pain first and getting it over with so you can move on to the seasonal pleasure. Delayed gratification is real, so kind of near the heart of what discipline is all about. You want to work out, you want to have some six-pack. What do? There's definitely delayed gratification. I'm not eating this fatty food. No more fast food. I eat it once I have a six-pack. But I will not have it all the time. But while I'm working on it, right, you have to avoid them. And that is discipline. Kind of something simple. I had an old member when I was pastoring down in Virginia, and this guy named JC. His name is JC. His Korean name, he kind of using JC. I guess that's more common to people around, I guess, his peer group. And he did a taekwondo for many years. He became state champ. And then after church meeting, I will go to McDonald's and have, order a meal. And he always buy a chicken sandwich, right? McChicken. He buys 2. You know how he eats it? Yes. He eats the bread, eats the tomato, and lettuce, and he saved the chicken for the last. I said, what's the point of eating chicken sandwich? He said, Pastor, you have no idea. I love chicken. So I want to save this for the last. Yeah? Yeah, you do that too? You too? Save good things for the rest. So here's a picture of how it works developmentally here. This delay gratification principle. Okay, I want to take a little toddler, 3-year-old, has a birthday. Mom puts big slab of chocolate cake on a high chair lid, and this little guy says to himself, I'm going to approach this in disciplined fashion. I'm going to approach this using delay gratification principle. Dig his little fist into the cake, he eats them. He's going to get that all out of the way, and then he would eat the what? The frosting for the last. This imaginary toddler, I know there's no toddler that does this, okay? And then this kid gets older, and he goes to school. He discovered the best way to handle his homework assignment is attack them right after he gets home. It's a tough thing to sit through, right? After school. Come home, and what he does is finish all his homework. And this little guy learned delayed gratification. Why? Once he's done with schoolwork, he could do whatever he wants to do in the afternoon, in the evening. Once he's done with homework, he could play with friends. He could spend his all night, whatever he wants to do. Pretty sharp kid, right? And this kid grow up later, finish college, then he knowingly accepts entry-level position in company, and he reasons to himself, I'm going to make this my investment year. I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to get up early in the morning. I'm going to do the extra mile and pay the price now, trusting the result of my later life, where there will be an extended season of reward for what I have invested. Along the way, he established workable budget. He does it difficult things in money management. He honors God with the first 10%, everything he earns, so that God's blessing will fall on his finances. Then he put 5 to 10% aside in a saving enrolled in property sharing fund for the company, and lives with his means for 35 years. Work hard, and then retirement party comes. The president of the company tells him, what proper sharing is, and he does not have much personal depth because he lived with the means and stayed out. An investment broker comes and say, you know, the 5 to 10% you stuck aside whole time. Well, now here's what it's worth. And that man and his wife move into retirement year, benefiting all those golden years from the principle of delayed gratification. Sounds great, right? Brothers and sisters, when you use this principle, which is core at the discipline, it is a beautiful thing, and it works across the board. Pick an area of your life. Let's say relationship. Is there such a delayed gratification in a relationship? Yes, there is. You start a new friendship, it's going well. But every area that you want to discipline, whatever it may be, making money, studying, relationship, even spiritual life, this principle of delayed gratification always works. Look what Hebrews said. Hebrews 12:10. No discipline seems painful at time. Do we have that? Is that there, Eric? I thought I put it there. No, he gave me an X. And no discipline seems painful at time, but it says at the end, you will be rewarded because you disciplined. Discipline and this delayed gratification idea is an equal opportunity kind of sort of form of consistency. Now, third component of discipline is kind of sort of rated R of book of Proverbs. If you read through the whole Proverbs, you found back-to-back chapters concerning a folly and consequence of associated with a sexual sin. The writer of the Proverbs takes a very interesting approach to try to help people to stay clear of sexual sin. He takes what I call advanced decision approach. You gotta make, in advance, you gotta make a decision before it takes place. Which is the third component of understanding discipline. The writer says, listen, here's what I want you to do so that you will avoid sexual sin later. I want you to think right now, safe and protected environment in a broad daylight. When you are functioning well, he would say to us, if you are in a sanctuary, this is great time to think through what this will look like. But this is where we don't really talk about it more often. We avoid talking about it. It's never a topic in a Bible study. You know, there's a destruction that's associated with the sexual sin. Reflect on what it will be, what it would do in terms of your guiltiness before our God. Think of the damage that you can do to the loved ones. If you're married, your spouse. And if you're kids, the children. Think of the damage you can do in relationship you are trying to build with a significant other person. At that cost, the benefit of analysis in broad daylight in a safe environment makes the choice to be sexually pure and seal it before God right now. When you are still far from any tempting situation of any kind, I want you to seal it before God and make this advanced decision of sexual purity here and now. For example, when it comes to relationship with opposite sex, that you are making a decision in advance. Maybe you may think that that's old school. Well, I'm just talking about what the Bible says. I only talk about what Bible have taught us, right? I don't talk about anything. It's not ethical. I'm not talking anything other than the Bible said. Proverbs 5:8, make up your mind to stay away from her. Don't even go near the door of her house. You get the vibe there, right? If you know you're going to be tempted when you go near her house, don't even go. Just like Psalm chapter 1. The blessed are the one who do not stay with the wicked. Do not sit around with the wicked. And he's a blessed man is a man who the tree is planted on the stream of living water. And then the leaf does not wither, and then you bear fruits on season. Make decision now and seal it. Ask God to help you. Stick with it no matter what. That we need a big discipline. How many of you wake up in the morning with the alarm clock? Are you the alarm clock? You just wake up on time? Yeah, most of us wake up with the alarm clock. Think about that. Disciplined people set an alarm clock. The night before, set the alarm clock, this advanced decision, and decide what time you are going to get up and when the alarm clock will goes off. People who understand discipline schedule time for significant relationships. Disciplined people say, well, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to figure out how to get into a whatever. Let's say you want to finish your school. You want to finish this thing that you are trying to accomplish or get a certificate for the next level of advancement in your work, right? You just have to make the decision in advance. Before you go into a deep relationship with the opposite sex, you are planning to marry somebody in the future, you got to make an advanced decision of how you're going to plan out your marriage and what that marriage entail. Yesterday we had a brother and sister. They already married. They were able to do a wedding ceremony at the church, though. They have a son who's turning 1 already, but had a wedding here. And I've done a lot of weddings. When I do pre-marriage counseling, I told them about blueprints. What are your blueprints in life? What's your blueprints for the family? When you have to build a house, you always draw blueprints. Without that blueprints, your house is going to be messed up. You're going to make a decision right that moment, when the window is going to be, how it's going to look like. No, you got to make that in advance. So someone will draw it. If it needs to be, redraw, then you got to do that again, figure that out. And no one build a house without a plan or without a decision of some sort. We're talking about life. Making our life work before God, right? And without making any advanced decision, we are going to be lost. We will have no direction. So because the Bible is the manual for our life, as long as we live as Christians, this is our manual. And teaches us you got to make some sort of discipline when it comes to relationship. You don't just sleep around with anybody, right? You don't just tell others about, how many people you've dated. I'm more concerned about, if I'm going to date, who I'm going to date. I'm sure we all have those process, but I'm sharing kind of detail about how it could help us to make decision before we get into relationship. Choices like sexual purity, choices like being a true friend or something, choices like being good to the poor, choices like how I manage my finances. Writing them down. I'm going to make a decision about all these fundamental issues in my life now and seal it, and with God's help, I will stick with it. I will stick with it the rest of my life. People who do that usually wind up with lives that worked pretty well. And people who are casual, careless about it, wind up with lives that are jammed and not working very well. Now, the last component is called mini celebration. I think every discipline, at the end, there should be a mini celebration. You know what? It's like 4 years of high school, you have a graduation. 4 years of college, there's a graduation. You know our way of graduation? I consider it a mini celebration. You did pretty well. You finished well. You know, you go to, let's say you're in the military. You go to boot camp. You come back, and there's a mini celebration. We went on a mission trip. We came back. We got together, had a meal together. That's a mini celebration. We want to, encourage others, and, you did really, really well in terms of disciplining yourself, and you have set a time to do this, and consistently, regularly, we want to celebrate with you. So we need a good friends in church that could celebrate this mini celebration, because we are not Lone Rangers. We can't survive on our own. We all need each other, right? We all need each other. Proverbs 17:22 says, joyful or cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Proverbs 15:15, a cheerful heart has a continual feast, and that's what God would like our spirit to be like as we walking through life with Him. A joyful heart is a continual feast. Jesus said, abundant life. God knows how to build you. He knows what's going to contribute to your well-being. He knows us so well that what will make us feel good about it. He knows without a doubt that you cannot lead a chaotic, scattered, unstructured, undisciplined life and experience a life in its fullness. It just won't work. You'll be filled with anxiety, frustration, depression because your life isn't working. So He graciously invites you and I into the life of discipline, which will keep your life from imploring or exploring. But God knows as well that as long as this is well ordered, disciplined path of life, there must be regular time of laughter and fellowship and spontaneous celebration, sort of balanced thing. This will balance out so that when we travel together, we are not easily worn out because we have this mini celebration. You live 6 days a week and you come to church on Sunday, and this I want to consider also mini celebration. We want to thank the Lord for how God's been gracious to our life. He has helped us. He gave us the strength to move forward. And then as we worship, as we hear the message, that God is not against you, God is for you. His word is there to support, encourage, give us hope. And this is another way to celebrate the life that Jesus shared with us. So we are not alone. We're in this together. Which is why Jesus, when He was on this earth, modeled the well-ordered life that was liberally sprinkled with mount walk, seaside campfire, boat trips, wedding celebration, and overnight with close friends and long dinner parties. I'm kind of using a modern word here. This is what Jesus did. He knew He needed to be very disciplined about the core issues about His life. But beyond that, He knew that He needed to have plenty of room for activities, experience of life that would contribute to a sense of freedom and joy. So He arranged His life like that. And that's the life He invites us into. A life of discipline intentionally about those core issues that make or break our lives, but punctuated regularly with mini celebration that keeps life sweet and that keeps the spirit free. There is this tool that's available for you and I. It's a remarkable tool called discipline. You can take that tool and throw it at the bottom of the toolbox and never use it. And I just want to say, your life is going to work too well, period. But if you reach for that tool and start using that tool, you're applying into every area of your life, I guarantee your life will look far better than today. You know the strong ally, of making your life work, this thing called discipline. And there's no telling where your life can go, what you cannot achieve. It's your choice. But you gotta call on this one and hope that you make a wise choice to pick up this tool called discipline. Let us pray. Father in heaven, thank you for the book of Proverbs, how it describes the fascinating tool that can make or break our lives, this thing called discipline. I pray that everyone in this room will grab that tool out of their toolbox and put it to work in their lives for your glory. We give you thanks and all the glory. God, give us a wisdom how to use it and how to imply and apply to our lives so that we'll see our life works so well because the wisdom that you have shared with us and the call discipline. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.